We are in game 3 between Tandem Bikes and Band of the Red Hand. The series is tied up at 1-1. These are qualifying rounds, so they're not playing best of 3. We're just playing through all 5 of the maps. And so far, pretty even match between both of these teams. Very strong opening from Tandem Bikes, but in the previous game, that should have been ending in a tie. Unfortunately, slipped out of their hands into the Band of the Red Hand, and to top it off with their bad luck, Asmodean has shown up for Band of the Red Hand. He is a previous Winter Series and Myth World Cup champion. We'll have to see how his arrival impacts the game. But here we are on Snow on the Borderlands, which is a snow version of Creep. So some of the trees are a bit different and might be out of place. You can see on the north side here it's a little bit crowded. But looking at the units here, Band of the Red Hand going for a decent amount of archers. They're maxing pus. They're only opting for one dwarf here. Pretty good amount of warriors. And about 15 or so thrall. Meanwhile, Tandem Bikes, rather than maxing pus, they're only going to go for 4 for 10 pus goals. They have more archers than RBH's trade. They have more warriors, maybe the same amount. Actually, I think they have 1 or 2 more. Yeah. Actually, they have the same. Meanwhile, they have a lot more thrall than Band of the Red Hand. The game type is King of the Map, which is King of the Hill with territories. And the game is gonna kick off here. Akira taking 20% to the southeast with Verminex and his 12%, Foss and his 10%. Looks like Verminex is going mid, Foss is going north, along with Thal's 14 and Ura's 16%. Limp healing away at the weights over here. LSO a little bit ahead of him. And we got Rat King heading to the southwest, along with, or the southeast rather, along with Lord Scary Owl. Slate and Killer King will be partnered in the middle. And Shadow, as well as Asmodean, taking 2 large warrior packs to the north and the northwest. Similar to last game, all the game chat is brought to you by Band of the Red Hand. Looks like Killer King has small pus, and Rat King got too many. And Shadow's encouraging his team to start controlling the flags, as it is King of the Map. And at the moment, Tandem Bikes have a 10-second lead.
Flag contested.
And the Thrall are pushing through the mid, but there's no artillery to follow them up. We'll have to see how that plays out.
Flag lost.
Meanwhile, Tannenbike's gonna secure northwest and the southeast. At least momentarily. And Foss is gonna let the archers loose along with Ura. Meanwhile, Killer King and Slate pushing the mid for RBD and southeast, rather at a standstill at the moment. And the Thrall pack for Tandem Bikes is going to retreat.
Flag captured.
Thal's in good position to support his team's archers, letting those arrows loose. But with Gamer coming in, the number of archers of his own, it looks like Band of the Red Hand is going to push. They have essentially captured mid and are pushing towards the south with that mid force. We'll check on that in a sec. And a pretty big plus going down, knocking out a lot of Shadow's warriors. And Slate has crossed middle. Verminex is thinking about fighting him while Limp retreats his Thrall. And another pretty big plus goes down, this time hitting most of Thal's warriors.
Flag captured.
And Band of the Red Hand now in control of northwest and southeast. Shadow picks up that puss he dropped. Let's see what it can do. And it's a pretty nice one. Takes out an archer, pusses 2 more and 2 warriors. Always worth a second chance if you get one. It looks like Band of the Red Hand will lose control of the southeast. Slate is in this middle position. He hasn't pushed the wall yet, but I believe he does have a unit checking out the west and southwest flags. And Band of the Red Hand's in good shape. They have melee advantage. They're dropping a plus there. It's only going to plus 1 warrior, but they still have a pretty good advantage here. Killer King is 2 empty goals, but they do have mobility power, and essentially Tandem Bike is getting overrun in the northwest. Meanwhile, it looks like Rat King is moving in on Akira in the south.
Flag contested. Flag
2 pushes here. A full offensive movement with a 10% advantage or so by the Band of the Red Hand. A plus goes down, but it gets knocked away. 2 warriors dropped. But Tandem Bike has to be careful here. They're against quite a number of archers. They might want to save one of those plus for the archers. And in the south, Rat King making his move on Akira. Looks like Limp will be rushing his Thrall at Lord Scary Owl as well. And Lord Scary Owl, Akira able to defend his units pretty well. Rat King only moving in now. He's actually taking quite a number of losses, Akira, but a pretty big plus goes down. We got 4 of his warriors pussed, and Rat King kind of turns this melee around. Akira, rather. Oh god, I'm messing that all up, huh? But over in the north, continues to be pushed by Killer King. A 7% advantage to Band of the Red Hand, but they're down about a minute in time. With the flags even. They're now moving in on the west.
5 minutes remaining. Stand clear. Flag contested.
I'm getting pretty aggressive with Slate here, able to knock out one of his archers.
Flag captured.
But all of West of Tandem Bike has been defeated. The only units in the West remaining for them is on their southwest flag. And in the southeast flag, they are getting pushed off as well.
Contested.
Not looking too good for them, as they only have about 15% disadvantage going against them. And Band of the Red Hand now able to contest the southwest. I'll peek over there in a sec. I just want to keep a lookout over here where all the action is. And
Flag contested.
oopsies.
Flag contested.
Well, the video's done processing, and Band of the Red Hand attempting to take control over all 6 of the flags on the map. They're already accumulating quite a bit of time controlling 5 flags at one time.
Flag contested.
And Limp coming through on the clutch with his thrall push gives his artillery some space to make some moves. He will end up losing that melee.
Flag lost.
But Verminex's Duff is in position to help control that fight.
Flag
His archer does go down.
captured.
And he clears the flag, but in the southwest, Band of the Red Hand taking that over. Meanwhile, in the east, Limp taking out a journeyman. And Akira attempting to get this goal off the northeast. It's 4-3 in flags. Band of the Red Hand with a 3-minute advantage.
Flag lost.
It's back to 3-3 now. With Tandem Bike securing the northeast, but in the southeast they're running into a little bit of trouble. They're running out of units. And Verm is dodging like an animal. But he's got to be careful. He can only take 1 more arrow. And there's still 4 enemy archers left. A contest goes off in the west. Limp's journeyman going into action. Varm continues to dodge away. A tough position for Verm. His dwarf does go down here. And looks like a 19% advantage for Band of the Red Hand. 1:30 remaining, and they currently have the lead in flags. I'm going to say that they take this game. Going over what happened to determine this result. It is tied up again. Oh no, they got 5 flags. Yeah, it's pretty much in the bag for Band of the Red Hand. So, the thrall wall was not enough
1 minute remaining
to stop Shadow's units mid, and they essentially were able to come and flank wherever they pleased. Meanwhile, once Band of the Red Hand caught on to that, they did adjust Gamer to go to the north. Also because North needed assistance, and they end up being able to have an advantage on every front, even though Tandem Bike only has a bunch of thrall mids. But able to make the adjustments pretty well, and able to win the fights on the ground when it mattered. LSO congratulating his team.
Flag captured.
And just a couple seconds left remaining here. checking out the stats. The game ends 40 minutes 57 seconds to the Band of the Red Hand with the victory. 33 minutes and 30 seconds going to Tandem Bike. A nice 73 kills by BRH. Christ, I think I've been calling them BRH. I mean RBH. All these names and teams named after like 3 letters. Wayward One, WWO. URA. URA. BRH. Yeah. Well, I'm about to BRB once this video is complete. So let's go through the stats. 11 kills for LSO. 13 losses and a point of damage. Those healed whites always killing. The damage and losses ratios for the captains. It's always best to detach them to your teammate who wants to win the most, because they'll take the losses for the victory every time. Such as Flatline. Meanwhile, Slate up 13 and 8 with 22 damage. Killer King 13 and 0. 20 damage. He has the best kill loss ratio of the game. Very nice, KK. And next up, Shadow 11 and 10, 19 damage. Asmo 9 and 9, 15 damage. Gamer looking pretty good here, going 8 and 3 with 32 damage, leading his team in damage. And Rat King 8 and 13 with 19 damage. The team with 7 players beats the team of 6. That team was led by Limp. 6 kills, 29 losses, 4 damage. A lot of those losses coming from the Thrall. I believe they had less pus, and even judging by the math of that, they had like 2 less pus. That's minus 6 damage. Essentially, Lord Scary Owl inflicted more damage with his units, but that's pretty much expected. In most scenarios with Thrall, they're held at a disadvantage unless they have numbers and they're being defensive. But there was more going on than just a bunch of Thrall. And for those players controlling those non-Thrall units, we got Akira with 11 kills, 13 losses, and 32 damage. Verminex 10 and 7 with 11 damage. Ura 8 and 7 with 19 damage. Thal 7 and 16 with 15 damage. And Foss 6 and 21 with 7 damage. Akira and Gamer here, both with top damage on their teams, and it's fairly even. In regards to total damage, I mean, you do have this large advantage being created here by Band of the Red Hand. At first, let's check the kills real quick. Yeah, you got Tandem Bike, essentially. They lose the first blood on the kill or whatever, but then they end up starting to rack up the kills, but not for long, as Band of the Red Hand hits the gas, and once they take this lead about a third through the game in regards to BC, Tandem Bike just doesn't have what it takes to come back, unfortunately. Just smart play by Band of the Red Hand here. They didn't control the positioning of north and south. They essentially controlled mid once they started pushing the Thrall, but they didn't have northwest or southeast to begin the game. But once they started pushing, taking advantage of what they could, worked out pretty well for them. And all Tandem Bike could do at that point was attempt to be defensive, but with the Thrall pack in the middle of the map, not in position to help defend the artillery units, help counter rushes and enemy warrior packs. like no thrall going north at all to help out. I think there might have been, yeah, there were a couple defending the flag or so, but those flanks able to get pushed. And that wraps up game 3. So Band of the Red Hand taking the lead in the series 2-1. We will have to see what happens in game 4 and game 5, and who is awarded the first seed. Essentially, if Band of the Red Hand wins the next game, they will become the first seed in the qualifying rounds. We'll have to see if they can do it. Stay tuned, and thanks for watching.